Salkuth Mind. I am so excited to be here
イ
with
ンタ
you
ビューが始まりました
for
ね。
this live interview with a member of Little Warrior staff. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Jill. I am out here at Little Warriors Be Brave Ranch. And for those of you who don't know, Little Warriors is an agency that is dedicated to the prevention, the treatment, and the awareness of child sexual abuse. I myself am primarily involved in the psychoeducational side of things. And so we have a lot of really great programs out here that really help to support children, youth, and families in better understanding this issue and how they can be supported through it. Our Be Brave Ranch, our treatment center out here, serves kids ages 8 up to 17 years old. And so we have lots of different types of therapies out here. We are, as far as we know, the only treatment center of its kind specializing in child sexual abuse in the whole world. So this just makes it all the more important and amazing, all of the work and fundraising that everyone in the community does. So thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to join me. And now I will say, for those of you who are watching, all of our previous interviews have been pre-recorded, so you haven't had a chance to ask questions. This time it's live. We have a channel point redemption that is active. It's 10 channel points, so very, very cheap. If you have a question for Jill at any point, please use that channel point redemption. I'm using that to track them. And so I can make sure that I see your question, that it doesn't get lost in chat, because we want to make sure that if you have a question, that there's a chance for you to get it answered. So start getting your questions in if you have them. In the meantime, we'll get back into what psychoeducational stuff means in a minute, because that's a really big word. But first, I'm curious, how did you come to get involved with Little Warriors?
Yeah, so I actually have been here for coming on 8 years now. And I remember, back in the day, just hearing about this issue of child sexual abuse and coming to understand that really nobody was talking about it. It's a really sensitive topic that very understandably a lot of people aren't comfortable talking about. But what we find is that if the issue is not talked about so much, it does happen to be more and more pervasive, right? And so I came to know about the agency of Little Warriors and all of the amazing work that they were doing with raising awareness and talking about this issue. And I was just really compelled to involve myself and start working in whatever way that I can. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Now, you said you're in sort of the psychoeducational programming side of things. Um, I know what psychoeducational means because I have a background of master's in ed psych, so I know what that word means. But I suspect most of our viewers don't. So, what is psychoeducation and what is sort of the psychoeducational programming?
Yeah, so psychoeducation is really, broadly speaking, just teaching people about different psychological concepts, mental health concepts, and just really informing them of all of the things to do with trauma and really just breaking really complex, often abstract psychological concepts into easily digestible bits of material. And so just really making that available for all of us to really engage with. And so the psychoeducational programs actually came out of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we unfortunately had to suspend some of our services at the beginning of that time. And we really were trying to look into what we could do to really better support these families. And at the very least, what we wanted to do was just give them as much education as possible and support them from a distance as much as possible. And so that is when the Be Brave Bridge programs is what they're called. That's when those were born. And those were just really specific to supporting families who have experienced this issue. And they're completely free programs. They have different modules and chapters with different topics that the clinical team out at the treatment center felt would be really, really important for folks in the community to talk about and to learn more about. So things to do with, boundaries, consent, different behavioral approaches that we can really talk about that can help to support some of the kids and the teens who might have experienced some trauma. And in addition to that, everyone enrolled in the program is actually connected to one of the clinical team members here out at the treatment center as an additional resource. So, as we try to make the information as digestible as possible, we also want to be able to provide them with another person to kind of have as a soundboard. How can we really practically apply some of these strategies? How can this information be applied to my home and my family and my life? And so we call those folks that work with the participants in the program coaches. And so they are really just there available for people going through the program as an additional resource to hop on a call or a video call and just really go through some of the material if they have any extra questions or anything like that. So we think that that specifically is a really cool part of that program.
That sounds really, really cool. And just a point of clarity for viewers, this is different, a sort of a separate thing than the Prevent-A program, correct?
Yes, so the Prevent-A program is amazing, and I always, encourage everyone to take it. That one's a bit shorter of a program. So the Prevent-A program is specifically focused on the prevention of child sexual abuse. And so, how can we work together as a community to look at those red flags, things that might indicate something bigger going on, and that's its focus. And the workshop itself, I think, is about 2 to 3 hours, and so it's a little bit shorter. It's a bit more compact. The Be Brave Bridge programs, which is what I was just speaking to earlier, are a lot more comprehensive. So not only are we touching on that prevention piece, we're also going into different trauma concepts and how trauma impacts behavior and the brain and how we can support parents and caregivers, and a lot more comprehensive in that way, if that makes sense. So we would say that typically to go through the entire Be Brave Bridge program, if you're working through it relatively consistently, it would likely take you around 3 months to complete.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's for sure a much more comprehensive program.
Mhm, mhm. And with that Prevent It program, just to clarify, you don't have access to that coach, and so that's kind of another really great piece about the Be Brave Bridge programs.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Prevented is a fantastic program. I've taken it. I know a few people of the community have taken it. But yeah, this bridge also sounds incredible. Um, and I'm assuming that these are all online, right?
Yes, yeah, they are online. So all of the Be Brave Bridge programs are online. The Prevent It program actually has two different ways of delivery. You can sign up for an in-person one as well, I believe. Those are facilitated by amazing volunteers that we have all across Canada, but you can access it online as well.
Yeah, for sure. And because it's available online, it's accessible to anyone in the world as long as they speak English, correct?
Yes, yeah, yeah, you bet. We actually currently are working, I believe, with some folks to develop a French version as well as a Spanish version, I believe. So we're really hoping to build that out a little bit more so that we can, of course, access as many folks across the world as possible.
Yeah, that would be incredible to see it in more languages because again, the more knowledge about this, the better.
Absolutely.
This is not an issue that just affects English speaking people. It affects everyone everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, there's a reaction in chat to Spanish. We have a member of staff who Spanish is her first language. She's very excited by that. Um, we have a few questions actually coming in from chat. So
Okay.
we're going to start with this one. If you had unlimited resources, what are some ways you would expand Little Warriors?
We would want a Be Brave ranch all over the world. So I think that would be our first goal. I think so much of our work right now is going into research and really trying to build out the research of what we do so that what we do can be replicated by folks all across the world. That's our ultimate vision, I would say. If we had unlimited resources, we would want to build one of us everywhere.
Sure. And I've been to the ranch and it's beautiful and wonderful and it's, you have so many fantastic things laid out, but it's also not the biggest space. There is a limit to how many kids you can put in there at one time.
Yeah, yeah, there is. Yeah, so that's one of the ones I would say is probably the ultimate goal is for us to be in every part of the world.
That would be amazing. We
Hmm.
have another question here from chat. Um, did you, and either yourself or Little Warriors as a whole, ever expect a bunch of gamers from all over the world to be raising money for this cause? The Prevent-A-Thon team is very passionate crew, and we love this event to help you.
I don't think we ever expected that this would turn out in the way that it has been, which is just, it's so phenomenal. You know, in my entire time being involved with Little Warriors, I just continue to be so moved by what different types of communities gather around in supporting this issue. And you and I were actually just speaking earlier too about, you know, how I feel is, you know, one of the most important pieces is just spreading awareness and education in as many different communities as possible. And I think with the gaming community, you know, so many of our kids and teens access this space, and it's an amazing space for community and fun and all of that amazing stuff. But it can also serve, you know, to be a bit of a dangerous path in some ways too, and it can really put some kids in a vulnerable position. And so, you know, for us to really come together, both of our worlds, you know, just talking about this issue is so cool. And I don't think any of us would have ever you know, thought that this would happen in this way, but it actually makes a lot of sense, and it is so awesome.
Yeah, I still remember Shannon. For those of you who are unfamiliar in chat, Shannon is sort of the contact person for any events and fundraising things. And I still remember her reaction with the first email I ever sent when I did some fundraising just on my own.
Mm,
And the amount of things I've had to explain and clarify about tech, but uh, it's two very different worlds. But I think we really love and appreciate the work you do. And there's always, anytime I'm in contact with Little Warrior staff, so much love and appreciation for us and everything that we do. And that extends to you as well, Chad, all of you watching and all of you who've donated. Um, I cannot express to you how much the Little Warrior staff appreciate every single
mhm,
one of you.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. I know a lot of people were very jealous of my opportunity to come on the platform today, and they were all rooting me on as I was able to have this opportunity. It's just so unbelievable the support that all of you have given us, and we could not do the work that we do without folks like you all. And so for you to invest all this creative energy into, you know, supporting us in this way is fabulous, and we all just could not be more grateful.
Yeah, sure. We have another question from chat. Um, this one is, I'm just gonna, it's a little bit maybe more serious and sort of a good leading us towards ending a little bit here is so how can we, so that's both those who are participating in the event and those who are watching the event, how can we help make discussions about child sexual abuse more mentionable and productive?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think really what we always talk about is just um, really bringing to light that this issue does exist and making resources like ourselves known to different folks, and really just not allowing it to kind of crawl into the dark depths where it typically just lays, you know, if that makes sense. And so I think really just talking to loved one, it's not an uncomfortable issue, or sorry, it's not a comfortable issue to talk
Mm-hmm.
about, but you know, things that are really really important tend to be the hardest things to talk about. And so just kind of reminding ourselves of that. And if anyone, does have any concerns to bring up, that there are a lot of people who care and want to help you. And, even if some people in your own circle might not want to talk about something like this or don't really know where to turn, and it does feel like such an isolating issue, there's actually so many really, really great people who want to talk about it. And so I would just say spreading the word, which I know is kind of a generalized suggestion, but really that's the only place we can start. It's just really kind of bringing it into the forefront and into the light.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I guess with that, is there any sort of final message, any word of wisdom, encouragement, anything you'd like to say to our viewers and to our community?
Yeah, when you said that, the one thing that came to mind was just really reminding yourself that every little bit of effort to a greater goal counts. And I think that's what our team talks a lot about. And that, when we talk about this issue of child sexual abuse, it can feel really, really daunting and overwhelming, and kind of like this beast to tackle, which it is. But we also need to remind ourselves that, a small group of people, even in the smallest bits of efforts that they make the most profound and powerful impact. And that's actually really how it's always been in the course of history. And so just really giving ourselves that reminder, and one another that reminder, is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. As we like to say, even a dollar still goes a long
Yes,
way, and
absolutely.
even just telling friends about watching the stream, it
Yes.
all helps. So, yeah, that's a fantastic reminder. Well, thank you so much, Jill, for taking the time, coming and talking with me, answering the community's questions. Can we get some love in chat for Jill for coming and taking the time to chat with us? Um, it's been my pleasure. And yeah, uh, look forward to hopefully continuing to do more of these down the line and continuing to just raise money for an incredible cause.
Oh, well, thank you so, so much for having us, and such an honor to be in contact with you and to just really see all of the amazing work that everyone's doing. So I can't see the chat, but I just would
They're all
love to.
sending a lot of love emojis.
Okay. I'm just, yeah, so grateful for everybody. And I am so excited for how everyone's weekend turns out, and kind of see where things progress in the next 72 hours or so. And we so appreciate you more than you know. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say it enough.
All right, everyone. Prevent-A-Thon will be back with more content in just a moment, but we're going to go to a break. We'll see you in just a moment.